April 14th, 1865. Abraham Lincoln was enjoying a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. when John Wilkes Booth, an actor and Confederate spy, snuck up behind the president and fired a pistol at the back of his head. 9 hours later, after being attended to by doctors, President Lincoln was dead.
Now, these are the facts that most people already know, but there were many ordinary people that played pivotal roles in Lincoln's final moments, and that's the subject of an event coming up later this month. We are so happy to be here today with Tom Summers. He's the executive director with the Milford Museum. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So this is part of the American History series that you're doing. Before we get into it, tell me what made you decide you wanted to do this kind of series?
Well, I worked at the Delaware Public Archives for many years, and we did a monthly series there, and it was very well received up in Dover. And then when I retired from the state, I went down to Milford, my hometown, and I thought, you know, it'd be good to start that series back up. It stopped on COVID, but when we started back up, I went there. My first month was July of 2023. And we did a program about the Declaration of Independence. We had 34 people. And I thought, oh, boy, I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. But since then, it has really grown. Our last two programs, we've had about 140, 150 people at each one. And which is nice.
Yeah.
But someone did tell me in the crowd that a couple of people just walked out when they got there because there wasn't any room. So, and we have these at the Milford Public Library because we don't have room for it at the museum. But it's been a very popular series so far.
That is awesome. Let me ask you, what got you so fascinated in the assassination of Abraham Lincoln?
And anytime you talk Lincoln, it brings out everybody. Lincoln is one of those subjects which people are really interested in. I've been reading a lot about the Civil War lately, and Lincoln was just a fascinating character. As much as it's been written about him and talked about him, he's still a fascinating person.
Yeah.
And this is being hosted by Catherine Canavan?
Kathy Canavan, yes. She's actually a writer, and she'd be with you today, except she's on a deadline for writing right now.
Okay.
So, but I've seen her do this program before, and it's an excellent program. And she brings out things that she picked up at the National Archives. She went in and did research, and she was kind of stunned that a lot of people didn't know about some of the details here. And some of them were the fact that John Wilkes Booth actually slept on the bed where Lincoln later died 2 weeks after.
Really?
When he was killed, he was taken across the street, and it was the same bed where Wilkes, Booth had taken a nap like 2 weeks beforehand.
How about that?
And
so with that in mind, can you tell us about some of the people that the program focuses on?
well, it really, I mean, most people know the facts of the assassination itself, but this kind of focuses on people that are behind the scenes, like the family across the street, who actually owned the house where Lincoln was taken to. And just some strange things that took place afterwards. After the assassination, after Lincoln had died, his body had been removed, they actually sent a bill to the federal government asking to be reimbursed for the sheets. Little things like that actually were in the records, but haven't really been brought to light yet. And Kathy focuses on that and talks about that a little bit in terms of, you know, how important that is to the entire story and telling everything that happened.
Why do you think it's important to get to these details in these stories?
Because I think the big events of history are important, but also those little things that actually add a touch to the story, such as the ones that I just mentioned. I think it's important that people know that because they get the full story.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so speaking of details, tell us again the wheres and the whens.
The program itself will take place on Saturday, April the 12th at the Milford Library, not the museum, at the library at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It'll last about an hour.
Okay, do you need to pre-register or anything, or you just show up?
You just need to show up. I'm recommending people come early. Like I said before, anytime you mention Lincoln in a program, you get a lot of people coming out. So I would recommend, with the program starting at 1, to be there at least by 12:30.
So let me ask you real quick, was there anything that you personally found surprising?
I think what I found surprising was that John Wilkes Booth had used the same bed that Lincoln used.
That is
2 weeks apart.
Yeah, that is
very interesting.
Wow.
Tom Summers, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful talking to you.